Sorry we did not stream this afternoon. The Rylea wanted to take a break and let their voice recover a little bit from being under the weather, because we're all still under the weather.
From being under the weather and talking too much this morning with Mark and SFB.
Now, whose fault was that?
Kirk's?
Was he going full Shakespearean ham on you?
Might have been better if he was. We're doing an early years campaign.
So we'll do a little side questing here until about 9:15, and then switch over to the buns for Heaven's Turn. At least that's the current plan.
Yes.
Shall we? This afternoon we spent a little time teaching Rylea the new wonders of Summoner. It is glorious.
Learning it again for the first time. Which is to say is completely different from what it was, so you have to relearn it, and I've never learned Summoner. It's just at high level because I go Scholar a lot.
Yeah. Lassie?
We'll meet again. Blast's fraught expression is in stark contrast to the tranquil surroundings.
Oh dear. Oh, I don't believe we've met. As much as I would like to engage in some meaningful conversation, I'm actually in the midst of searching for someone. It's my mentor.
The weeds.
Yeah, in the weeds. It's my mentor who taught me practically everything I know. Now, she has relinquished her role and is ready to make her final journey. But before she does, there is an important matter I must convey to her. The last concept in her care, a beautiful winged creature, has been approved for life on Atreus. Please, will you help me look for her? There's a strong chance you will find her at Philomontis Notus. Her most distinguishing feature is her chestnut-colored hair, tied into a single flowing lock, much like a Monoscriona's tail.
Monoceros. You should know that one.
I'm still not
ready. Realize what that one means.
Single horn?
Yeah. Mono one, Ceros horn. It's the Greek version of unicorn.
Yep.
Because everything around here must be Greek. Second guest. Yuridome has a use for your unique charms.
Oh my, aren't you adorable? Actually, there's something you might be able to help me with.
When you say adorable, are you referring to me or the carbuncle? I wouldn't blame you for meaning the carbuncle.
A visitor from the Bureau of Architects has arrived at Rylea to deliver new concepts. I would like you to offer her the warmest of welcomes. Normally, we'd offer our own familiars to attend such duties, but most of them are already entertaining other guests. There'd be rather a lot lately, you see. On the other hand, this would be a perfect opportunity to show her an entirely new and, what's the nice way to put it, idiosyncratic familiar.
That's the nice way?
That being you, of course. I'm sure she'd be delighted to meet you.
I'm scared to ask what the rude way of putting it is.
It's a living.
Nothing to sneeze at. There's nothing quite like a good sneeze. as Phidias will attest.
Oh dear.
A familiar come to observe us observers, are you? Why, what are you called?
I'm Thayrin, and this is Rylea, and this is a post in my camera.
Yes, you are having that problem. Rylea and Thayrin, you say? 'Tis fine names. I am Phidias, a researcher here at Ananoresis. We are currently preparing a section of this isle for new creation. For this, we need to expel those creatures that inhabit said area, and that they'll not interfere with our tests. The simplest way to do so is to have the Ampello sneeze. The explosive noise never fails to send nearby critters fleeing. With good reason. Have you ever been sneezed on by one of those things?
Yeah, it's not pleasant.
We are just about to attend to this task, but seeing as you're here, how would you like to give it a try? Yes, please is putting it a little too strongly, but yes. I knew you would be keen. To look at you, 'tis plain you're an inquisitive sort of familiar. Now then, my beastkeeper colleague is already on site to the northeast of here. Seek him out, and he will tell you what to do.
Yep. Let's pick up the last one and do the blue last.
Mm-hmm.
Because that might turn into a chain.
Mm-hmm.
It can happen.
Often. I order you to relax. The rather serene observer looks at you with more than a hint of concern. A familiar and all alone, I see. And look how thin you are.
And for the record, I'm not alone. There's my sister right over here, though I agree she is a bit thin.
Are you practicing your inner Jewish mother?
No, but Carradine sure is.
Always.
He's delivered
Though
food things
he
three
does not
times in
have an
2
inner
days.
Jewish mother. He has an outer Jewish mother.
Okay, fair enough.
If your remaining aether were to be exhausted, you'd simply fade from existence, and we wouldn't want that now, would we? I suggest you visit the morning dew. You'll find the winds blowing in and from the Leith most invigorating. Perhaps while you're there, you might seek out a friend of mine and invite him to share a meal with me. If it's not too much to ask, that is.
We've done worse side questing. Nope, we got one more. Where is it? Ah, there it is.
Labors of my fruit. This creator recognizes you. Or does he? Azam, what in the blazes are you doing here? Hold on, you seem thinner somehow.
I'm not as am. Well, mostly.
You have much in common with her, but it's clear you're not one of us. Familiar, perhaps? Yeah, let's go with that cover story. I suppose it's just like her to send one of her minions to poke its nose into our affairs. But since you're here, instead of hanging around like a bad smell, why don't you make yourself useful?
I thought we already were.
Not to him. I want you to take this latest work of mine, a new variety of fruit, to my colleagues. In the meantime, I will be cultivating more specimens in the Zithonic horns. Yes, you heard me correctly. Cultivating, not simply conjuring with creation magics. The fruit I produce is a labor of love. Now that my newest masterpiece is close to completion, I would have my fellow researchers sample its delights. I wish to hear their impressions before I make the final adjustments. Unfortunately, for all their wisdom, I find them intolerable at the best of times. Never mind when they are critiquing my work. For that reason, I would have you go in my stead. Be quick about it, lest the fruit spoil as a result of your dawdling. If the fruit spoils that fast, you have a problem.
Yes. You're not going to be able to take it to market. I'm just glad it's not more Marlboro fruit.
Yeah, well.
Next time, use the solve. Hello, chestnut-haired researcher. You wish to speak with me? Ah, yes, I had a feeling she might say that. As I have told her, my decision has been made. But what about the winged creature? It was a success. How about you?
The same, yes. Sorry.
Glad tidings to be certain, but my work is done. This news was more than sufficient, and I thank you for that. Nothing can deter me from my chosen course, and I must join my predecessors in the hereafter. Tell Blastade to name the creature as she pleases, and that I wish her every happiness. Now, our brief encounter has reached its end. Farewell.
I'm going to have to go through that again. Thanks for nothing.
Sorry.
I was talking to it. Right.
Yes, there is a bit of that. When I was a kid, I actually did have a Jewish grandmother. Everyone called her Nana. She was grandmother to every single kid on the street in Irvine. And she was determined to feed us every time we showed up. I kid you not. Everyone adored her. I was bummed when we moved away.
Yeah.
Because Nana was the best. We're going to ignore you.
You don't even exist in the future. Why should we pay any attention to you?
Ah, there they are, hiding over in the corner. Hello, Miss Envoy. What a pleasant surprise. You must be one of the most curious, elongated familiars I've seen.
Excessively energetic familiars is what I get. So she probably has something different for each race.
Iridome chose her representative well, it would appear. As a matter of fact, I too have an errand to ask of you, namely to deliver these concepts. I have brought them all the way from the Academia Niter, 3 aquatic fauna specimens from the world of Mitron, and 1 flora sample from the world of Halamurt. All very fascinating, as my counterparts here will soon discover. It would also be prudent to remind your... Iriadome, not to let their captive nature distract her from making her observations. Well, there's no time like the present.
There's no time like the present, and this is not the present.
Hush!
What?
Let's see, which direction next? Probably follow the circle around,
Something like that?
and then come back to
Only
the
got
middle.
one thing that's out in the outskirts.
Oh, two things. It's just, yeah, two. Nothing to sneeze at, and I order you to relax.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
It is very beautiful here, but it is very manicured.
Mm-hmm.
So used to the wilds of like Lakeland and Ratika, and even the Shroud. Excuse me, sir? Ah, I've got some benches up here. Is someone taking a siesta?
Yes. Step softly, will you? You'll wake them.
Ah, and there's a Takobo back there, too.
Yes.
Hello, Mr. Observer. Sorry to trouble you.
What brings you here, O friendly familiar? Time for a meal, eh? Ah, yes, quite right. Thank you for reminding me. Still a few more moments here can't hurt, surely. I dare say you've noticed how refreshing it is to even stand in this idyllic place. The air itself is permeated with rich aether, and the fine droplets from leaves ease the aches from a hard day's work. Try a nice big stretch. You won't regret it.
Then stand over here.
Ah.
If I can type correctly.
See what I mean? The wind through the leaves, the waterfall's soothing spray, there's nothing quite like it. In our busy day-to-day lives, it's all too easy to forget to look after ourselves. Actually, that includes familiars. Speaking of which, I'd best get something to eat, as you so kindly came here to tell me. As you seem new to these parts, my friend will probably be wondering whether you've lost your way. Go and put his mind at ease, would you?
You know, I'm not exactly chilling with this, They mean well, they're trying to help, but I don't like being looked down on. I rest, but do not sleep, when you are far away. Softer a dream isle than our children's find in Lethe. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's an actual ancient Greek poem.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I wonder if Morning Dew knows that she's named after a a research facility section. I'm not going to tell her that.
The Midnight Poem. 4 lines of the poem survive, preserved in Hephaestion's Enchiridion, a treatise on meter in Greek poetry. Most scholars believe this is only a fragment of a longer original, though Diskin Clay argues that the poem is complete as it is. Right. He's supposed to be here by now, but who might you be?
Yeah, he sent me here in his stead.
I'm the substitute. Oh, you're clearing the site in Phidias' stead. How very kind of you. Come then. Let's get you on the Ampelos. Once you're securely mounted, ride it yonder and have it sneeze at the bushes. The noise will scare away whatever creatures may be hiding.
And do more than just scare.
Yeah, well. Big sneeze. Ampelos' mighty sneeze sends the creatures in the bush scattering in panic. Yeah, don't blame them.
And last one.
Not exactly the first time we've done this.
I mean, we've got these guys at mounts, but I'm not going to tell him that.
The creatures came running all the way here. Frightened as they looked, I dare say they'll keep away from the site for a good while. For its hard work, I shall treat the Ampelos to a spot of sunbathing. Meanwhile, you should return to Phidias. I'm certain he will have a reward for you, too.
Hello, Octi. It's good to see you.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry we're slate going today, but we're still under the weather and thought taking it easy this afternoon was the better choice. So we're getting a little side questing in before heading off to the buns in about an hour-ish. Fortunately, the queues have been miraculous today.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, Blasty, but she wouldn't come. She's not with you. Did you at least find her? I should have known nothing would sway her. All I can do is hope she finds blessed respite in the ethereal sea, and that we may one day be reunited in another lifetime. Until then, I will carry on her legacy, beginning with naming the creature she cared so dearly. I think I shall name it after her. That way, she will live on through her work, forever. I trust our guest was enamored with you as I am.
Crystallized concepts. As if to confirm your suspicion that crystals are at the center of every facet of existence, this pattern from which life is conjured has also been wrought of crystal.
Gee, thanks. new concepts for us, and fascinating to the point of being distracting? What an odd thing to warn me about, though it does all sound rather intriguing. The Academia Nighter always produces concepts of the most outstanding quality, and I'm eager to learn what treats we have in store on this occasion. Let me see. From the word of Mitron, we have what seems to be an aquatic mollusk capable of storing aether in its shell. I guess I can only guess as to what purpose that would serve, but I dare say it will all come abundantly clear in due course. Oh, I do apologize. I already find myself mesmerized by these concepts, just as the visitor predicted. For your part in bringing me these wonders, you have my thanks. And XP.
And a bit of currency that won't exist for a few thousand years.
Hush.
A few?
Yeah.
More like millennia.
A few thousand years. You're the familiar who arrived with them at Sulk and Hythlodeus, yes? And what do we have here?
A nameless red fruit.
If the pungent aroma is any indication, this fruit is likely to provide a unique, if not especially pleasant, culinary experience.
Oh dear.
A new species of fruit, eh? Let us hope it tastes better than it looks.
Did he just
And
give us a
smells.
Durham?
My word! What an unusual flavor. Equal parts bitter, musty, and tart. And not entirely unpleasant. Curious to know how such a thing was created.
He bred them, actually.
Grown from seed in the Sithonic horns, you say? In my experience, leaving such things to nature leads to wildly varying results. To have bred such a specimen must have been incredibly time-consuming, not to mention inefficient.
Yeah, well,
It's a hobby.
sometimes you gotta do things the hard way.
Welcome back. Thanks to you, the site has been nicely cleared, and we can release our new creation. It's a species of ambulatory plant, lest you wonder. While these have been popular of late, this one dwarfs the rest. A veritable tree that can use its branches like hands to catch prey. Sets my heart aflutter just thinking about it. My thanks again, and if there are any other exciting tasks, I will be certain to let you know. Ents?
No.
Ochos.
Gocha, yeah. You wish to speak with me? We were told to ask you to try this. No guarantees. My first impressions? Very well. Good gracious, what is this? It's so outrageously bitter. Something akin to a wave of icy cold is spread throughout my body. I certainly wouldn't eat this out of choice, but if it could be made into a medicine for staving off the heat of arid environments.
Might also be worth a try in preserves. Convert some sugars.
Your friend is on the way to dinner. This one's yours.
I guess so, yeah. Here to report on the successful completion of the favor I asked of you. How very dutiful of you. Would I be correct in guessing your little jaunt has paid dividends? Huh, no need to tell me. I can see you practically bursting with vim and vigor. Why, even I feel bitter just looking at you, and I've done nothing but stand here the entire time. Yeah, well.
So, who's the next experimentee? Excuse me, sir. Would you like to take a survey?
Are you lost a little familiar?
No.
No, but you might lose your taste buds.
No guarantees.
For me? Why, yes, I should love to try a piece. I don't mean to be rude, but this falls somewhere between rather foul and positively revolting. So bitter it's practically inedible. More important, however, is the question of whether this fruit would serve its intended function. If wild animals cannot bring themselves to eat it, the seeds will never be spread. I can't imagine this creation being approved in its current state. From the icon and everything else, I am kind of wondering if it's like a prototype of the raspberry.
Yeah, you're gonna love these reviews.
You were returned, -3 fruit samples, I presume. Is that so? Not one of them found it to their liking? They claimed my last attempt was too sweet, and now it's too bitter. Honestly, the nerve of these so-called experts. As they shall soon learn, I am not so easily deterred. For my next creation, I'll cross-pollinate sour and sweet varieties and see what they have to say about that. I'll show them as these wildly varying results that come from adherence to natural processes that have the power to defy expectations. And as the familiar Vasimir herself, I'm sure you can appreciate that.
I'm just glad you didn't make me eat it.
Turing Anagnoresis Part 1.
We're gonna be here all night, aren't we?
Socles regards you with pointed interest.
Can we help you?
Welcome, friend, to Anagnoresis. I am Socles, and I manage this region under the authority of Chief Hermes, the head overseer of Elpis. You are, how unusual, a soul-bearing familiar. Familiar must have a mission, yet you offer no message and carry no cargo. Were you perhaps here for the purposes of observation? Yes, that must be it. In which case, you need only mention my name to Charmian, and she will gladly give you a tour of our domain. Soak it all in. My trouble with them is just how quickly they will make assumptions of everything.
Yeah. Ah, yes? Yes, what can I do for you? Thayrin and Rylea, is it? And Overseer Solclus wishes me to act as your guide? Oh, no. I didn't mean it like that. I would be more than happy to show you around. I'm simply wondering why the Observer chose to send you to me of all people. I haven't been here long myself, truth be told. Until quite recently, I was wholly engaged in a prolonged research project at the Academia in Niter. Surely there are others, more experienced individuals who could provide a more comprehensive. This grumbling is hardly constructive now, is it? The task was given to me, and I will attempt to cover the most salient features of our facility to the best of my abilities. After all, it is not every day that one is asked to indulge the curiosity of such a rare and fascinating visitors. We can commence the tour this very moment if you would like.
Certainly.
We're free. Let's do this. Then let us begin. Rather than having me lecture as you walk along, I think observing firsthand what we do here in Anagorsis would provide more beneficial. I will point you in the right direction, and you can question my colleagues to your heart's content. Once we've completed the circuit, we can return and speak with the overseers. Sulcliffe. So, which way? Not sure who to speak to? Don't be shy. Any of my colleagues will be happy to answer your questions. That was helpful.
Uh-huh.
I guess we're going this way. Oh, he's outside, isn't he? No, there he is. A kiss?
Charmian. Oh, and who's your friend? As it is familiar, why you appear so astute and deliberate in your thinking. I should very much like to make an extended study of your composition and consciousness.
Please, no.
Oh, do forgive my forwardness. It's my duty to chart the behavior of familiars, and I find it ever so diverting. Arcane servants are rarely permitted to roam the world at will, you see, but our research here is given special dispensation, once the subjects are properly registered as concepts, of course. There are times when familiars are tasked with tending cattle or must otherwise coexist with other living beings. Such projects are brought to me, and I am responsible for observing and evaluating their potential compatibilities. Oh, but of course, if Azim might grant us permission, then you could abide here for a few years while I analyze.
No. And on that note, we really must be moving along. Step lively, Thayrin, Rylea.
Still here. Has my request for a full compositional analysis been granted? No.
No. Azim gave us free will, and we're going to exercise that. Thank you.
We gave ourselves free will? Ooh.
Pretty much. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Paramonos?
Who do we have here? A familiar of some kind, judging by your ethereal structure.
Yes, I'm accompanying Thayrin and Rylea here on a tour to the Anagorsis, and at the behest of the Overseer.
A tour. Feel free to wander as you please, of course, but I advise keeping your distance from the larger creatures. The fauna I have under observation occupy the top tier of the food chain. Do not take kindly to intruders in their territory, especially the specimens found on the other islands. They can be exceedingly hostile. Well, I'm sure you're quite capable of defending yourself. No one appreciates a surprise tusk through the abdomen, eh?
Thank you for the warning. We will proceed with due caution. Checking with him again. Excuse me.
As I said, mind the big ones as you walk around. They are best appreciated from afar.
Hello, Charmian. Was there something? The overseer asked me to give this familiar a tour of the grounds, and I thought the best way to do that was to show them what we do here firsthand. I see. Well, as my work is rather difficult to demonstrate, I hope a brief explanation will suffice. Our creations are many and varied, but I mainly preside over the plant life. When it comes to watching certain grasses grow, one must be prepared to observe over the course of several years, and in the case of trees, sometimes decades. Tedious, perhaps, yet necessary. Plants are capable of altering an entire habitat, and their presence as a food source has an enormous influence on the local wildlife. Was that the sort of thing you wished to know? Yes, that was perfect. Thank you. I think we've covered the main areas of interest. All that's left now is to speak with the Overseer Oculus.
So your job is literally to watch grass grow.
Yes.
Oh dear. Ah, I see you've completed your tour.
Almost. We spoke with those in charge of various facets of Agniosis, but I thought it would be fitting to end the visit where it began, with you, Overseer Solclus.
I see. And what is your impression of the work we do here? It requires equal levels of passion and patience.
Yes.
I am glad we could help further your worldly education.
I'm glad to see you enjoyed the experience. At least, I hope you two did.
Yep. You're truly a masterpiece of creation. Only a soul-bearing familiar could demonstrate such robust cognitive faculties.
Were you perhaps designed to inspire others? I feel something special has been woven into your aura. You have an intriguing presence, to say the least. Please stay a while and share more of your thoughts with us.
Yes, I second this invitation. In all the long years I've resided here, never have I encountered such a unique entity, and one of Azim's, no less. And hey, Aether Current.
You have an intriguing presence, to say the least. Please stay a while and share more of your thoughts with us.
Turing Anagnoresis Part 2. Socles continues to regard you with a fiery curiosity. Rylea, Thayrin, how are our fascinating familiar friends? What is it about you that ignites my observer's soul? Well, now that we've been properly introduced, perhaps you can tell us more.
Yes, I would very much like to know how you see the world, how everything large and small appears to your eyes.
Assuming you're amenable to the idea, you must join Charmian on another tour, this time to take a wider look at the surrounding facilities. Are we interested in learning about them?
Yeah. That's what we're here for, after all.
Mm-hmm. I see. Then we shall delight in teaching in each other.
where to begin? Which facility would you suggest, Overseer?
Oh, any place you feel will best elicit a response from our guest.
Right. Yes, of course. Well then, Thayrin, Rylea, come with me and we'll visit the arcane entities on the south side of Angrelsis.
Go, observe, learn.
Ah! Yeah. Academians. No. I have to be this way. Oh, she's up top.
Are you observing and learning?
How about how to get lost? We have yet to register an official name for this species, so we simply call it the Bird of Elvis. What is your first thought about beholding this majestic creature?
That I've seen it somewhere before?
No. I want to ride it.
Yes. And I've seen it somewhere before.
I want to ride it into the sky. Fascinating. Imagine a familiar which supplements its deficiencies by taking a mount with the desired capacity, in this case, flight. In any case, I'm eager to hear more of your responses. You truly are unlike any construct I've ever met, familiar or otherwise. Let us continue southward, shall we? I would like to hear your opinion on the next facility. I wasn't going to say the last because we're supposed to not mess with the timeline.
No. It's more that we can't.
No messing with the timeline.
Shall I read this off, or can you see it?
I flipped to it, but give me a second. That way I'm not twisting around away from the mic.
Mm-hmm.
You have, but haven't even completed its evaluation, let alone registered a concept with the Bureau of Architects. Are you perhaps acquainted with the entity's creator?
No.
In any case, I'm eager to hear more of your responses. You are truly unlike any concept we've ever met, familiar or otherwise.
Yeah, I can't imagine why.
Let's continue southward, shall we? I would like to hear your opinions on our next facility. No messing with the timelines. Not even hints. Though I think us being here already is kind of screwed things. Or space-time wedgies, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Timey-wimey.
Wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff.
Yes.
That structure over yonder houses some of our more unorthodox researchers. Rather than weave creation magics, they breed existing specimens in hopes of begetting a new strain and species. This method is imprecise, the outcome's uncertain. My eyes, the research seems awfully self-indulgent. Merely a means to state the whims of one's intellectual curiosity. Our purpose in life is to improve Ithrias. In my opinion, we should steer clear of techniques which produce flawed results.
You have no use for flawed creations?
Yeah, I'll go with that. And that bothers you? Are you concerned you'd be evaluated and found wanting? I never considered it that way. Thank you. I thought to broaden your horizons, and here I am realizing how narrow my own views can be. Hardly a desirable quality to be in an observer. Time for a spot of rest and reflection, I'd say. Shall we move on to morning dew? It's our favored by many observers for a calming tranquility. Yes and no, Foxfire. While we do, at this point in the story, hold the seat on the council of Azim, we are not the Azim that they speak of. That person is unfortunately lost. We simply inherited their soul. It's not the same thing. We are our own people.
Really?
He wants to play. I don't want to play.
Not with him, no.
After all, we may have inherited his soul, but their soul. But in the long run, we did not inherit their memories. Therefore, we can never really be them. And they can never really be us. Because it takes 3 things they've already described in-game to make a person. The soul, the body, and the memories.
So admittedly, we are apparently amazingly close personality-wise.
Yeah,
Consummate meddlers.
Yes, we are consummate meddlers. You have a good night, Action. Sleep well.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully see you tomorrow.
Yeah. Glad you could stop by.
Huh. Pyramid wasn't out here before.
Pyramid.
Welcome to our Garden of Respite. We can explore more of it later, but first, I want to hear more of what you think. Of people. Of us. I often sat here musing on the nature of our creation, wondering how a familiar might perceive its creator. We are not so different.
Not so different.
Perhaps that is true. You do seem far closer to us in nature than most other familiars. Well, let us set aside such musings for the moment and bask in the morning dew's serenity. Just a second, I want to talk to Perry Mead over here.
Is there anything more beautiful than watching the... Darn it. There's no such thing as an end if there is no beginning. Man, those bubbles are going by too fast.
Yeah. See how the aether of the lathe returns to the star as it rains down from above? Naught is wasted. Oh, that's not water. That's aether.
Possibly water aspected Thayrin, but yeah. Familiar food. Charmian prepares to launch into another lecture on life on Anagnoresis.
Are you well rested, Thayrin, Rylea? One cannot perform at one's best without allowing the mind and body time to recuperate. Here in Agnoresis, we often encourage one another to nap or to partake of some of the fruits we grow. We wish we could conjure such treats into existence, of course, but there is something oddly gratifying about plucking ripened fruit fresh from the tree. How remiss of me. How exactly do you sustain yourself? Is the same as supplying you with aether? No, but you'll fade away without proper nourishment. A tour can wait. We must feed you immediately. Would you mind picking some of the white blossoms to the west of here and bringing them to the observer sulcus? Archistratus flowers, we call them. It'll have everything else ready by the time you arrive.
The patron ancient of Jewish mothers?
Eat, Gubis! You're so thin! And it's Jewish grandmothers.
Nah.
We want to go up the rise. I said up the rise. Ah, these. And let's see if we can sneak around the Bird of Elvis.
Would be good.
The last one's over this way. Can we jump up to there? I think we might be able to. It'll be a little roundabout, but... Archistratus flowers are an edible bloom, you see. Hand them over to Overseer Sulcus, and he'll mix them in with the fruits I gathered to make a delicious juice. Okay, we'll give this juice a try.
Charmian explained to me the crisis at hand. Have you brought the flowers? Archistratus flower. This bloom appears to be edible despite not being a lifelike sugar-laden confectionery. Yes, these are the ones we need. I'll add them to the fruits from Charmian's basket, and we'll soon have an aether-replenishing beverage for you to enjoy. 'Tis the work of but a moment.
You really needn't go through the trouble. I've got a bag full of smoked chimkin.
And here we are. Freshly squeezed anagnoresis juice medley. Go on, then drink up. I'm curious to hear what you think of it.
Okay.
Drink the anagnoresis juice medley in front of Socles. Well, please have as much as you like. No need to be shy. And Charmian.
Are you sure you're feeling all right? No sensation of gradual corporeal dispersation or the like?
No.
I think if I fell apart now, Hades would be beside himself.
Anagnoresis juice medley. Made from Elpis-grown fruit and flowers, the aroma of this aether-rich concoction promises a uniquely complex flavor. You drink the juice, noting the complexities of the floral and fruity flavors. Ah, good. It seems you're able to tolerate liquid sustenance. You didn't appear to be suffering from any loss of material form, but a familiar must have a regular infusion of ethereal energy. And now that we know you won't suddenly vanish, will you please please reassure Charmian? She still looks terribly concerned.
I'm so glad you were able to replenish your stores of aether. Overseer Sulcus certainly is a wonder when it comes to food preparations. Still, I firmly believe that a consumption of food should be limited to restoring one's strength. Any reason beyond that is simply wasteful. Eating for enjoyment alone is unnecessarily drains on living resources, and such practice can only be harmful to our star's equilibrium. Which is why I have so much respect for Overseer Sulcus and his culinary talents. He employs ingredients and methods which not only optimize the dish's ethereal composition, but produces flavorful results.
Save your compliments, Charmian. I won't be flattered into making another batch until it's time for our next meal.
Well, of course not, and I would never dream of attempting such a base manipulation to begin with.
Sindari, Ancient. Okay, it is a little after 9.
I think we could go just a little longer.
Okay. Definitely need to keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
Familiar fate. Charmian has one last question to ask you.
Before that, Sulkins, the exchange of knowledge is quite mutual, I assure you. Thayrin, Rylea, I feel we've grown to understand each other. But there is one last thing I wish to know. As you've seen, our purpose is to improve life on the star, and we have our own way of approaching that purpose. Familiars, too, exist for a reason, often a very specific one, and I just wonder why you feel about your place in the grand scheme of things.
Charmian, perhaps you can provide our friend here with an example of what you mean. Such a nebulous question requires a more recognizable foundation from which to answer.
Yes, you're right, of course. We must not skip the journey in our haste to reach the destination. Where to begin? Broadly speaking, we study the wisdom and magics of our forebears and choose our path of interest and talents begin to crystallize. Even among the observers of Agnorasis, however, Overseer Sulcus and I share a similar calling. Again, it may be more beneficial to simply show you what I mean. Please, accompany me to the archives in the Northwest.
Archives, you say? Never a dull moment to Charmian, is there? Still, her boundless enthusiasm is what makes her such a fine observer.
Yeah, back in college, I had this one art class, and this one person in the art class, all they painted was flowers. Flowers, little miniature flowers. And at one point, we jokingly referred to her as the flower lady.
Of
At one point,
course.
we had a party where everyone brought something in, and she brought in candied flowers. And everyone was like, this is so you. But we really don't know about this. And I was like, no, these are perfect. This is like roses and honeysuckle and dandelions and
Candied versions thereof? Okay.
yeah, actual candied flowers.
Yes.
There were flowers that had been candied. And it's like,
Yes.
those were awesome.
I don't know enough about the others to say offhand, but yeah, I could see how candied roses would be wonderful.
This is where we keep all the administrative records. Any of these documents will help you get an idea of what we consider to be our defining purpose. Feel free to browse. I shall just be awaiting you outside.
And Uanthe?
That's the same as before. Between you and me, Hermes' eating habits are atrocious. We may not be reliant upon food to the extent that our smaller creations are, but our diets eventually catch up with us.
Oh,
If
right.
we don't consume the required balance of nutrients, we grow weak and lethargic. Yet Hermes consumes candied apples as if they were a staple.
That's right. These books appear to contain detailed observation logs. The name Socles is written on each of the spines.
So it sounds like he's been here a while. Unshelved books.
A stack of half-finished observation logs. Judging by the penmanship, the author is someone other than Socles.
Mm-hmm.
And log 6124. You pick up the log and flip to a random page. Today, there was an incident involving the hippocampus. The creature is extremely territorial, and 4 observers sustained light to severe injuries from water-based magics as a result of their perceived intrusion into its domain. A report has been sent to the Words of La Habrea outlining the dangers inherent in continued observation of their nominated subject, and the intent to shift our focus to the smaller, and considerably less aggressive, Hippe.
Oh, that explains a few things.
Mm-hmm.
Spoilers.
Always with the spoilers.
So keep that in mind. There will be a quiz later.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Thayrin, Rylea, did you find the observation logs enlightening? Overseer Socles has built up quite a library, hasn't he? He's logged comprehensive observations on every living being in Agnorasis, not only objective physical descriptions, but also his personal thoughts and impressions. And that's why I'm here, to carry on the Overseer's invaluable work. When it comes to the continued success of Agnorasis, our purposes are very much aligned. But I cannot help but worry, however, that I lack the same degree of perception and ability, that I am unfit for the task I have chosen. Even being the same room as those logs is enough to make me feel uncomfortable. My insistence that you examine your purpose was, I think, born from the trepidation which surrounds my own.
An uncertainty you need not feel.
Overseer Socles.
As one of our newest arrivals, you have ever been quick to doubt yourself. Yeah, you were able to guide Rylea and Thayrin here on an engaging tour through the intricacies of our duties, which clearly demonstrates the depths of your understanding. If all I wanted was someone to emulate my work, why, I would simply continue doing it myself. No. The reason I asked you to assume my role is because I believe you can take our projects in new and novel directions. Raising you as a competent successor is the final step of my purpose in life. Do me proud, Charmian. It is your growth, your efforts, which will facilitate my return to the star. Yep.
I will do my best, Overseer. But don't be in too much of a rush to leave us. There are still so many things you need to teach me. And speaking of teaching, thank you, Thayrin, Rylea, for this wonderful and enriching visit. It's been a pleasure learning about you, not to mention a few things about myself.
Yes, and you also have my gratitude for the part you've played in training my young colleague. You're welcome to return whenever you wish. Okay, and that leaves us back down to main story.
I say it's time we go ahead and switch over to the buns.
Mm-hmm.
So that means I need to go prop up the wall again.
It is time for the bunning.
Yes. We're going to go ahead and stop the stream so that I can switch OBS over to the Bun setup. And then we will be back at exactly 9:30, whether the queue has us in or not.
Right.
Thank you so much for joining us for some side questing. We will continue MSQ on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
In any case, we'll see you in about 15 for the buttons.
Mm-hmm.